Those are questions I ask myself every single day. My name is Julie Rogers, and I've worn many hats through the years. Ballerina, athletic trainer, homeschool mom, nurse, and finally ghostwriter and editor. I also have 7 books of my own. I started ghostwriting and editing about 10 years ago through Upwork and James Ennis Group. Now through my own company, julierogersbooks.com, and Eddie Oak in New York City. I've ghostwritten many different genres and categories, both in nonfiction and fiction, self-help, how-to, blog, academic, as well as children's, YA, adult fantasy, horror, thriller, action, adventure. I also have written screenplays and stage plays. My latest book is Falling Stars, an urban fantasy. When I was in 3rd grade, there was a little boy in my classroom who was an avid fan of the TV show Dark Shadows. This was a daytime soap, and at the time the ratings were flailing until Jonathan Frid, a Canadian actor, joined the troupe as Barnabas Collins. Now this little boy could pass as a vampire. Dark hair, dark eyes, the whole thing. He wore a fancy cape to school and he entertained us with his Barnabas Collins impersonations. Now it was all fun and games for us when school got boring, but it raised the question for this story. What if in my story I have a little boy who role plays a vampire, maybe even believes he's a vampire, for a much more serious reason? The little boy in my 3rd grade classroom inspired the main character in my story, Tommy Lucas. Tommy Lucas is 9 years old and he has PNH, a blood cancer. He will need a bone marrow transplant within the next 6 months to survive, but he believes he's a vampire and he plays out the entire fantasy with a cape, a casket, eating only red foods, and so on. His mother, June Lucas, is an oncologist, but she's also a mother. So while she is carefully monitoring his immunotherapy, she is also his mother and sets aside the need to have the talk with Tommy about his fantasy because she doesn't want him to lose hope. The other main character in my story is Viscount Claudius Fallon. Fallon is an urban legend, and it is said that he traveled from Cardiff to the United States, specifically to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and Norman G. Baker's Cure for Cancer Hospital, because Fallon, as a vampire, half human, half vampire, had leukemia. We don't know whether he's cured just yet at the beginning of the story. And Tommy starts reading an online pulp fiction magazine with a story about Fallon. Tommy believes that Fallon is still alive and that he is still in Eureka Springs. Callan Masters, aka Fallon, is a local artist and very satisfied with his incognito existence. When Tommy starts looking for him, things start shaking up. I think the process of curiosity and then discovery are the 2 major things I love about writing. I'm always learning about myself, about others, about world events, history, and so on. Does it have to be just one? I would say the main one, though, is that if you have an inspiration for a story, if you have a muse, if you have an idea or a message that comes to you, it came for you for a reason. It came to you for a reason, and you need to follow it. The nuts and bolts of writing, of putting it out there, of marketing it, are a completely different world. But Follow the muse, because that is what will give you the strength to progress through the steps to bringing your story to life into a book. My book is available on Amazon.com, Kindle and paperback, as well as signed copies from my own website, julierogersbooks.com.